Hey babe, you hungry?
Yeah, I wish I had a really great omelet.
Omelet? We can handle that.
Welcome to Our Family Beef.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Brigitte, and today we're going to show you how to make an omelet like a pro at home. Well, Brandon is.
When we got married, we found out that we had different expectations for each other, and one of those was that I would make breakfast frequently for the family, and this was hard at the beginning because I was learning, but I thought, you know what? I want to make breakfast for my wife. It's her favorite meal of the day, and I want to do it well, and I like omelets, and she likes omelets. But omelets, for me, were like, what can you throw into eggs in a pan and kind of fold over together that you can eat? But that wasn't quite right. And I think a lot of people struggle with this really basic thing. So we're gonna break it down really simply for you today and show you how to make one of our favorites.
Ham, mushroom, and goat cheese. All right, let's go.
Omelets aren't all that complex. There's actually kind of a complex simplicity to how to make them. But because people think they're this quick thing you can just whip up, people tend to make them wrong. They cook them on too high heat. They just throw them together last minute. And how many times you've been in the kitchen and you're like, you got your eggs in the pan and you're like, oh, where's the cheese? And you're grabbing it and the omelet's getting overcooked on one side and it's raw on the center. That's not how you do it. So to simplify it, take your time. First step, mise en place. This just means having everything in place. This is key to making a really good omelet. So let's look at what we need for this recipe.
Hey, we forgot to tell you, Brandon's going to tell you the #1 tip on how to make the perfectly flippable omelet, so make sure you watch to the end so you don't miss it.
You will need a couple big bowls, a few smaller ones if you're going to have a lot of ingredients like we are. You'll also need salt and pepper, but do not season your eggs before you cook them because the salt will cause them to seize up a little bit. It'll change the texture. You don't want that. You will need eggs. We're going to use 4 eggs because I'm making 2 omelets today. We're gonna dice up some ham that we've already cut on our own meat slicer. The link for that we can put below. We got some goat's cheese and a little bit of cheddar because though the goat's cheese has great flavor, the cheddar will help bind. Butter, because that's how you make eggs, people. We're gonna have an onion. I'm only gonna use about 1/4 of this today, as well as some cloves of garlic, and we've got some baby bella mushrooms. Trick with these, there's nothing special about them. They're button mushrooms that are brown. Baby bellas, same thing, just different colors. So it's like brown eggs and white eggs, doesn't matter. You will also, of course, need an omelet pan, non-stick. Yes, I know, PPFEs and all this. Don't buy those. This one is like granitium. It's supposed to be like a ceramic coating. Try that. We like it. I don't know if it's perfectly safe, but who knows what is. Also, you will need a whisk, a spatula. You will need knives. I'm gonna use a Santoku knife. It's just a Japanese version of a chef's knife, but I like the way it rocks and then the way it curves a little bit. And I'm gonna use a paring knife. This is just for some of the smaller detail work. We're gonna start with our onion because that's just the most annoying part. I'm gonna go ahead and slice this onion from end to end. That way I'm not cutting these off. Apparently, if you cut this off, it makes you cry more. So I'm not a fan of this. I'm gonna slice it long ways, slice it in half. I only really need 1/4, and I'm not gonna cut this off because I am so sensitive to onions. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a slice down the center here, almost to the end, not quite. And then I'm just gonna parallel that, not cutting to the very back of it, all the way across on both sides. Almost to the very end, not quite to the back. And then cut across that. And there we've got already finely diced onions. Make a mess like I'm doing. Grab these cloves of garlic, and they've already been peeled, which is super cool. So I'm just gonna cut the ends off of these guys, and I'm just gonna finally slice these guys up. If you're not comfortable doing it this way, don't do it this way. I'm pretty comfortable, but I know fingers in the way is not the way to go. I'm just not good at cutting it with my knuckles. Like, how do I can't even, it's too small. So I just do this, and then, oh, my finger, no, not really. So I set up that way, and then just give it a coarse chop. And then the great part is your fingers will smell like garlic for many, many hours to come, regardless of how much you wash them. Scoop that up, put it into one of your little dishes. Mushrooms. Take these guys like they are and slice them. Thinly is better. These things cook down so much smaller than you started with. So I absolutely love mushrooms. They contribute so much yummy, umami, savory flavor to stuff, especially when you cook them down like this. So I'm just gonna slice them up this way. Some people like to take the stems off. I leave them on. I don't mind the stems. They're mushroom, they're flavorful, so I keep them. Don't make fun of my knife skills. I am not a chef. Buy your mushrooms whole, not pre-cut. That's my preference, at least. I think they last a little longer if they haven't been cut yet. And that way you can just cook them up and do whatever you want with them. We can save some of these probably for something else and throw them in with another dish, like a cauliflower fry up or something like that. Toss these into this bowl right here. So this is some smoked ham that we already sliced ourselves in our deli slicer, so it's kind of thin. So I'm just gonna mince it up, kind of small, just cross-cutting. The reason we're putting everything in its own little bowl is because all these things cook at a different rate. So you don't want to cook the onions at the same time as your mushrooms, at the same time as your ham, because you want certain textures from each thing. So if you have them all ready to go, when you need to put them in the pan, you're in a better place. A little bit of cheddar cheese in there. And we're gonna cut up our goat's cheese. We grab this paring knife over here. You don't even have to cut it. This is basically spoonable stuff. But I had a paring knife and I felt bad for not using it. So, and I'll end up pinching off pieces anyway. It's fine. Goat's cheese is messy. And then lick the goat's cheese off your fingers. That's good. Grab your eggs, crack them straight in the bowl. 1 egg. 2 egg. Doing it one-handed isn't really hard. It took me a few eggs to get it right, but it's actually way easier and I get way less shell in it. Let's try it. See if you can do it.
I can't do it.
Yes, you can. Okay. Whisking your eggs, not stirring your eggs. I always thought that it was kind of like folding dough, so I'd try to whisk and get it over and over. But turns out one simple motion gets far more air into the eggs, because what you want to do is aerate to make them light and fluffy. Observe. Whisk. Break up the yolk a little bit, okay? And then just this. Just that. Side to side, because what's happening is I'm going back and forth through the egg, forcing more into it. Now, if I do this, it's not the same. I can't go as fast. If I do this, way more air is getting into it. And you'll look and see that in very short order of vigorously whisking these eggs, they're full of air. All those bubbles coming out. Look at that. So keep doing that for just a little while, and you'll have very fluffy, light eggs. We're gonna start with our stove set from medium to medium high, because we're gonna cook all of the things that require cooking together before we cook our omelet. I'm gonna start by dumping my garlic right into the pan. Put that in there. After you hear it start to sizzle a little bit, give it a little stir and go ahead and dump in your onions.
While he's cooking that over there, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and hit the button down below and hit the notification bell and hit all so you don't miss any notifications when we post new videos. Also, come join the family over on Instagram at OFB Social. We would love to connect with you in the comments. Also, check out our blog at ourfamilybee.com. I'm gonna list out the directions over there. Okay, let's get back to cooking.
You start seeing a little browning happen, go ahead and dump in enough of your onions to more than coat the bottom of the pan, because they are really gonna shrink up. These are gonna add plenty of moisture to your onions and your garlic to keep anything from burning, and they'll cook down at the same time, and you'll get a lot of really nice concentrated flavor in there. Go ahead and turn it down to medium heat. You can break your mushrooms up as you go if you like. All right, and then go ahead and throw your ham in. Stir that together and let those flavors get to know each other a little bit. With the ham, you're not looking to sear anything, you're just looking to get it heated up. I wish you could smell this. Your mushrooms look cooked, your ham has sweated out a lot of its juices from heating up. Wonderful smells are coming out of this. It is time to set it aside. And turn off your burner, because you're gonna want low heat in just a very little while. Then you can take and put all of the ham, mushroom, onion, garlic stuff into a bowl you have waiting on the side. Now, a great thing you can do here to save yourself a little trouble is actually just to take your goat's cheese and pop that into this mixture. The heat will help to thin the goat's cheese enough that it spreads out almost like cream cheese. Now set your heat to medium-low, because that is where you're going to cook your omelet. Go ahead and put your pan on. Omelets are a matter of patience. Don't cook it fast, cook it right. Get yourself a little butter, just enough to coat the bottom of your pan. You don't want to fry your egg. You just want to lubricate its experience a little bit. If your pan is hot enough that your butter is starting to bubble, just lift it off, because you do not want it browning in there on you. All right, and then go ahead and put your egg in gently into the pan. Let it spread the butter around. That's okay. All right. And then once your egg is in, start to lift the edges and allow the egg to flow under it. Lift and flow. And keep working your way around the pan. This helps it become a thin layer all the way around and not a scrambled mess. Again, lift and flow. Lift here, and it flows in. Let the egg keep replacing itself. Spread it from the center. Break it if you need to. But let it keep replacing itself. Once it starts to do that more slowly, then you know, see, you're about ready to make the omelet. I think it's about time now. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a little bit of cheddar cheese, because like I said earlier, that's kind of the glue of this whole experience. Just a little bit throughout here, okay? And then a little of this yummy mixture we made with that. Make sure I can get some of that gooey goat cheese in there. Don't put too much because it'll be really difficult to flip if you do. All right, here's where you can go ahead and put in just a pinch or two of salt into your eggs and some cracked pepper. I like some coarse ground pepper in mine. Then grab your spatula and check the other side of the egg. If it feels like it's going to come up, great. If it's not, give it a second. It may not be time yet. Oh, a little more cheddar on there, just to help glue it in place, you know? But you don't want the egg too underdone or too overdone. Let's go ahead and flip this guy. Like, there we go. Once this guy's done, he's cooking a little more on this side, I can just go ahead, grab a plate, and plate my omelet. Now, normally we would put some freshly chopped chives or green onions on here, but we don't have that because we're in quarantine right now and we haven't gotten a lot of fresh green things. And the only thing we have is cilantro, and it would look pretty, but it would not taste the best. So, sriracha makes things look pretty too. And my wife absolutely loves sriracha on her eggs.
So yummy. Good, babe. I'm just gonna go take this over here, okay? Bye. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, hit the button down below right here. And if you want to see more videos by us, check them out over here. Until we meet again, don't forget, life is better together.
Let's go eat.